some of us aren't actually citizens of this country, and that's a whole nother conversation. But if you guys are watching us and tuning in online, thank you for watching online. Make sure you hit that like button, the share button. It doesn't cost you nothing. Drop a comment, and we'll do our best to pop the comments up on the screen. Okay, and you can be part of the conversation, because these are the important conversations. As we were just talking, we know 100% that right now the political environment that we are facing in our nation is very, very starkly dual-sided, right? Like, there's no full embodiment of what the interest of the people is. There are sometimes some people in office that seem to be more aligned with what we want, but policy is really where the difference is made. Policy is really where we actually see things happen, and it's policy, especially budget, okay, where things actually happen. And far too often people forget that, because, you know, it's their team, their team. And when it comes down to whose team is right or whose team is wrong, well, people get very defensive. So you can't talk about a lot of things because everybody's offended all the time. Oh, well, this, oh, well, that. Oh, you can't talk about Trump. Oh, you can't talk about Biden. Oh, this, oh, that, or Kamala Harris, or whoever else this week it is. We can't talk about anybody. We can't talk about anything. Why can't we have a real conversation? And that's what we must do. We must challenge ourselves as individuals of a country that allegedly is civilized. I don't know, you know, but that is allegedly a civilized country to have civilized discourse. That's all but gone in society now. Somebody finds out that you're a member of a different party, or you have a different belief on a certain particular issue, and they want to throw you out with the bathwater, right? Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. But that's what happens nowadays when it comes down to politics. And then we wonder, as a collective whole, as citizens of the United States of America, why our needs never really seem to be met. You know, every now and then we get something that they throw at us and they say, oh, well, you know, we've got this great thing for you, and here's some scraps. It's like James Brown said, they sell us out for chicken change. And that's what's happening right now in our country. We're being sold out for chicken change. And I know a lot of people like to focus on the president and stuff like that. The president really doesn't have a lot of control over a lot of things. It's really the local level and the state level. That's where we can make a difference. That's where we can make a change. And that's where we have to get involved. Because if we don't get involved, who's going to get involved? And this is the stuff that people don't like to talk about. Far too often, we see that people don't like what's going on. Like, I'll give you a good for instance, right? Crime is a big issue where I live, right? They'll tell you crime is down, nothing's a problem, there is no crime, blah, 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 nonsense, right? But people are concerned about public safety, and they keep letting criminals out of jail the same day that they get arrested. So that's clearly an issue. But when that happens, who is going to stand up and say anything? Who's going to stand up and say, hey, you know, we have to start to hold these criminals in jail? Where are the people? Where are the protests for that? You know, I see the people get out and they protest about the illegal aliens. Oh, don't lock up illegal aliens. Don't deport people. Where are the people protesting about the crime? Where are the people protesting about the failing education system, right? And I know a lot of other people across the nation that don't live in Rochester, where I am, also have issues with their various systems where they have schools, right? But where is the actual protests, right? Where are the protests? Where's the accountability? Where are the people going to the meetings to actually engage the local elected officials? Public safety, that should be a bipartisan issue. You got, what do you call it? Public education, that should be a bipartisan issue. If the kids aren't able to read or aren't able to write, that means that they're not going to be able to be contributing society members. That means that they're going to live off the government teat, which means that the government is going to have to siphon off more of your tax dollars. But then people will say, oh, well, everybody doesn't work, so they don't really care, and not everybody pays taxes. I mean, I hear that, but that's honestly largely an excuse. It's largely an excuse, and it's a cop-out. It's nothing more than a cop-out, because people like to say, oh, well, there are so many people on welfare and stuff. It's not true. There's a lot, but it's not to the point where we can just say, oh, well, you know, let's ignore him because nothing's ever going to change. That's nonsense. Don't tell me no to crazy stuff like that. I'm not playing with you. We don't have time for them type of games in a nation in which we have so many issues that we need to address. We've got crime, we've got economy, we've got we've got not just public safety, we've got public education. So if we're not addressing these, and these are some core issues here, right? And most of these issues are on the local level to be able to be addressed. Like we look at the state level and stuff like that. Everything looks phenomenal on the state level. The economy on the high level is doing good. Everything sounds great. Everything is cooking. But when we see what the results look like on the local level, we have to start questioning what's happening on the state level. I see some of you guys dropping some comments here. I appreciate you. Make sure that you drop some comments, be part of the conversation down below. I'm gonna pop up as many of the comments as I can today. Okay. Thank you guys for commenting. So drop some more comments and hit the share button and the like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed too. I want to jump into this conversation about the Kirsten Wheeler, whatever her name is, the NBC lady that just interviewed Trump the other day. I saw that. And I listened to it and I watched it, and she's got a very, what would you say, rough, abrasive displacement. What would you say? I'm trying to use nice words, right? I got one word in particular for her, but I don't think they'll let that air on the radio. You know, she just came across as very abrasive the whole interview. And I'm like, man, I'm glad that he's doing that interview and not me, because I'd have told her about herself. This is a serious issue. And people are on the internet right now talking about, oh, Trump was rude and disrespectful to her. First of all, he's the president of the United States of America. So you need to check yourself. Who's being rude and disrespectful? Understand his position and pay homage to the position. Like this is what the problem is, right? Like people continue to be like, oh, well, he's just nothing. He's trash. He's whatever. He's the president of the United States of America. It doesn't matter whether I like him or don't like him. It don't matter whether you like him or don't like him. He is the president of the United States of America. And then people will say, oh, well, that's not my president. But then when people had thoughts on Joe Biden, that was an issue for them. So this is a very serious problem. So people have gotten it in their minds so much that they think that they can just talk any type of way to the president. I'd have shut them down too. I'd have shut them down, and I'm not the president. Like, who are you talking to like that? But when it comes to Trump, you know, oh, well, we don't like Trump or whatever. And then they were like, oh, well, she's a black lady. Look at how Trump is disrespecting the black lady. I'm like, I didn't know that lady was black. She don't look black to me. I thought she was Indian or something, red dot, not feather. Okay. And come to find out, she's apparently black. I cannot fully confirm that. She is black and Jewish. So white Jewish, not like Jewish as the religion. So Jewish as the Eastern European ethnicity. So this is a very, very serious conversation. Somebody said, I flew all the way there. So why did you decide to be combative then? So they're talking about the lady, what she said. And it's funny because she was nasty, bro. Like if you listen to it, the way that she was engaging with him, I wouldn't want to do an interview with somebody like that. And he's very even-tempered and moderate. moderated all the way through most of the interview. And apparently the rain and stuff kept banging on the roof and stuff like that, and wind kept going. So it made a whole bunch of issues with the recording. So they had to stop a couple of times, which is also very interesting. So that's kind of a problem. But, it's a mild annoyance. And one of the interesting things that I thought that I took away from that whole situation was his comments on Iran was very, very interesting. He was very, what would you say, congenial? Is that the word I want to use? I think that's the word I want to use in relation to Iran, and saying that the people that are in charge and making the decisions over there, like, what's his name? The son Khomeini, the son, whatever his name is. He was saying, yeah, he said, even though he got blown up and he's in bits and pieces, he's really showing some courage, trying to actually continue to work on leading the nation and stuff like that. So I found that to be very wow, like for him to talk all the junk that he's always talking, I'm like, I see you. I see you. You really trying to get this deal done. You really trying to have some people actually engage in this peace deal, and good on him. Honestly, good on him. Because that was some real statescraft type of stuff right there. That was a really, 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 really serious thing. Somebody says, I respect him as much as I respect Biden. Both are despicable. The reporter gets no respect either. She was engaging in bad faith. That is 100% the fact. She was engaging in bad faith. And that's something that we need to recognize, instead of, again, people make this stuff about teams, or, oh, I don't like this person, I don't like that person. How many times in life have you engaged with somebody that just was real nasty to you and then tried to play the victim? I'm not saying that the lady was trying to play the victim afterward. I'm saying that the internet tried to play the victim for her. But we experience this in daily life. People are nasty and rude, or do something mean to us, or do something hurtful, or even attack our character or something like that, or try to make us look bad in front of others. And then what? You want us to just sit there and take it in the bum? Raw? Like, they could have at least bought us a drink first. Like, this is the craziness that we watch, and we're supposed to get all riled up politically about an interview that he did with a reporter. That's not my wife. And if she was, that'd be a problem, because me and her would have had some serious words, because I know she ain't getting out there making me look bad like that. But that's not the way that you engage in good faith during a report. It's just not. Somebody says something about something else. We'll talk about that in a minute. But as we talk about this, there are a number of issues facing our nation right now. One of the big ones I want to talk about is energy. Energy, energy, energy. That is a huge situation that's going on right now, and nobody's really paying attention, right? And what we saw was energy prices spike, shoot up out of control. Well, why are energy prices spiking and shooting up out of control? I thought they promised us that if we changed all our light bulbs, and if we did all the extra insulation in our houses, and if we did this, and if we did that, that everything would be better and all the prices would go down. What happened? None of the energy prices have gone down. Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. All the energy prices have gone up. So we have to ask ourselves, why are the energy prices going up? Who is responsible? And it's real quick and fast for us to say, oh, well, it's the energy companies. Well, wait, hold on. Let's go back to what we were talking about earlier. It's about policy. It's about budget. Who writes the policy and who writes the budget? That's the state assembly. That's the state senate. The federal government has no power to deal with any of that, except if you listen to Governor Kathy talk, or any of the Democrats talk, all of the energy issues are Trump's problem. I had somebody tell me the other day that, because of the war in Iran, the energy prices are going up. Does your brain not function so well? Like, what do you mean? right? Like, explain it to me like I'm 5. So if you're saying that because of the war in Iran, our energy prices are going up, that's crazy in New York State because we don't have any oil plants. I believe we decommissioned the last oil thing in what, 20, 20, maybe 2000, right? Like we had some that were kind of mothballed that might be able to be turned back on, but they've been completely gone for over 20 years. So what do you mean? It's got nothing to do with anything going on over there. And this shows the political ignorance, the economic ignorance, and the ignorance on the general conversation when it comes to energy, right? Then you got people that say, oh, well, you know, it's the energy companies. Okay, which part of the energy companies? The people selling us the energy or the people delivering the energy? Oh, well, it's the energy delivery company. Okay, I'm with you. But the energy delivery company doesn't set the prices. The state has to authorize the prices. So the state is encouraging you to be mad at the energy companies, but they're the ones who authorize the rate increases. Who's stupid? Who's stupid? They think that you're stupid. The state assembly, the state senate, these people that are supposed to be your elected officials to represent you think that you're stupid. They want you to be like, oh, yeah, the energy companies are the problem. No, they're the problem. In New York State, where I live, they've shut down a number of pipeline projects for natural gas. Okay, they shut down a number of natural gas power plants. Like, what are they doing? Natural gas supplies the majority of our electricity, over 55%. What are you doing? Why would you do that? And then people are like, well, rates are going up and it's these people's fault and that people's fault. Maybe it's the people's fault who shut down the actual natural gas extraction and the natural gas plants that generate the electricity. Do you know who that is? The state assembly and the state senators. Is anybody going to hold them accountable? No, because that would be too much like right. And they don't want you to actually focus on that because they can distract you with the president, oh, Trump, or they can distract you with the energy company, oh, energy company. Like, this is the problem. Hit the like button, hit the share button. I see a ton of you guys watching out there, a couple hundred of y'all watching. Hit that like button. Let me see them likes come up. Drop some comments. Every like, share, and comment helps a lot. So as we have this important conversation, this is the deflection. This is the distraction that I want to highlight. This is what our elected officials are doing to us. Now, I live in a deep blue state, in a deep blue city, in a blue county. And they're still trying to play in the face of all of the people that live here that are Democrats, right? But they're Democrats. So why would they play in the face of the other Democrats? Why would they do that, Marcus? Well, you know, it's because they have no respect and they have no concern for the actual people. This is how they get down. This is how they give it up. Because as long as they're secure in their position, as long as they've got you looking at somebody else, there will be no accountability for them. There will be no accountability. And they don't want any accountability. And that's the very, very big issue. Somebody popped in and they said, it's the uniparty. You know, where I live, I wish I could say it's the uniparty. In some aspects, there are some issues like that, but it's largely the Democrats because there aren't any Republicans in power where I live. I wish I had some Republicans to blame and be like, oh, these Republicans, you know, and but it's not. They're not in power here. It's only the Democrats. And it's been that way for decades, 54 years. Exactly. Why is it like that? Why can't people actually hold the people that they voted for accountable? You're mad at the energy. Hold these people accountable. Why won't you do that? Well, because that makes too much like right. And it would be that you actually have to have some level of responsibility, right? You have to have some level of responsibility to hold them accountable. Well, I encourage you, anybody that's watching, get involved locally. Whether it's with your county committee for whatever party you're involved in, whether it's your school board, whether it's your city or town council, whether it's the fire district or any other number of different boards that they have where you are, get involved. Get involved. Start by listening to what these crazy fools are doing to us, okay? Now, not everything is bad everywhere, and not everything, even in bad places, is bad, but you should be knowledgeable and understanding of what's going on there, because then you can see more of what's happening and understand more, even if it's just one thing. Like, let's say you're concerned mostly about education, go to the school board meetings. Go to the school board meetings and start to find out what's going on. Because this is important. We have to have accountability. Now, somebody had mentioned earlier about talking about the corruption in the CPS and the family court system and stuff like that, right? So that's a big deal. That's a big deal. But we don't talk about that at all. I ran a couple years ago for, literally 2 years ago. I ran 2 years ago for state assembly, and part of the thing that I was pushing was reform on the family court system and for CPS and adoption and foster care. Because I've had a ton of experiences with them. I'm not very happy with CPS, adoption, or foster care. All of them are trash. If it was up to me, CPS would be abolished. I got a lot to say on that, and we only have an hour left of the show. And I'd be here talking about that for an hour in itself. But where are our elected officials addressing that issue, right? Anybody that's had any engagement with CPS, whether they ended up with the result they wanted or they didn't get the result that they wanted, know that it's a whole sordid affair, right? Anybody that's gone through adoption, especially in New York State, adoption is not easy in New York State, and they make it cost prohibitive. I have heard that they have adjusted some of the financial requirements and stuff like that for adoption now in New York State, but I'm not 100% sure on that completely as of yet. But these are the same issues that we see over and over again that don't get addressed, that people do have issues with. And don't even get me started on family court. I got a dozen issues with family court that I could tell you about right now, because family court has a history, especially where we are in our state and our county, of taking men out of their children's lives, right? Because they think that, oh, well, the woman needs to be the one to take care of the children. First of all, how many dads do you know that are fighting for their rights for their children? Do you know how much of a hard fought battle that is to begin with? Like, that's a real serious thing that a lot of people don't think about. It's hard to fight in the family court if you're a man. They do everything and stack everything against you. So a man fighting for his child is very important. But more so over, if you look at, and go look this up. Don't believe me because I'm saying it. Believe me because I'm telling you, and go look it up. A child has more likely success rate of being with the father than they do being with the mother. Isn't that something? That's kind of crazy. So we should really look into that. So it goes 2-parent household and an independent father raising the child are the most likelihood of success. With a mother, that plummets drastically. Okay. I can't tell you exactly the socio-psychological things with them. I have some thoughts on the matter, but I do know that those are the statistics on it. So how come we're not looking into that more? And how come everything that it seems like the state, the government, is doing is separating fathers from their children? Why would the government want to separate fathers from their children? You know? Well, because then the government can make the women more beholden to the government and make them more dependent. Years ago, the government figured that the best way to disrupt and break up and destroy any possibility of revolt against the government or people actually standing up in relation to the government is to make it so that there is no strong men. And this has been the continued process that they have been using internally in our nation to subdue our people in the country. But can we talk about that? And we see it especially in the Black community, because they went heavy on attacking the Black men in the community. And this is a very serious problem, because if you think about this, before the 70s, before Lyndon B. Johnson got into office with the Great Society Project and the expansion of social welfare and things like that, we had it where Black Americans had the largest percentage of 2-family households. Make that make sense. Make that make sense. And then we had the Great Society Project, in which, you know, they had to make sure that they could do everything that they could to attack the men in the household and push them out of the house. So that's a very, very, very serious situation. Somebody said Democrats promise, oh, too many comments at one time. Keep All the comments flowing though. I'm going to address as many of them as possible. Somebody says Democrats promise you free handouts, but notice it's barely enough just to get by and never enough to get ahead in life. That's exactly what they want. They want to keep you subservient. They want to keep you dependent because dependency breeds reliance. And if you're reliant on them, they can have you do anything that they want. They can do whatever they want to you. And this is a serious situation that we see today. We see that every single day. Somebody says that the courts and the judges are no good too. That's a very serious issue also. That's not untrue. Somebody says your benefits, your benefits, they call them your benefits, but that's not true. And he says that Trump put work requirements on them. So there are new work requirements on the benefits, but most people wouldn't even be affected by the work requirements. It's just saying that if you're able-bodied and not in school, that you have to work or volunteer for like 20 hours a week, right? Like if you're able-bodied or not in school, like if you're in school full-time, you don't have to do that. Like, where's the issue? Like, this is what they don't say, that this is what they don't tell you. They try to make it like, oh, well, they don't want people to get the resources that they need and stuff like that. But as I think it was John who was saying earlier, what resources? They're barely enough to survive on. And anything that you do, especially if you have a child, I used to do a lot of entry-level hiring, right? So what happens is in New York State, when you hire somebody that has a child, they have childcare lots of times through the state. And if you hire them, like after their first week of getting the first paycheck or whatever the case is, that goes to the state and the state shuts off their childcare. So now you've got somebody that's been working maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and all of a sudden, all their childcare is shut off. How are they supposed to actually go to work now? They haven't had time to save any money. They haven't had time to find any other way to make sure that their child is looked after. Like, what is that? So we ended up with a whole bunch of people that ended up not working because it's better for them not working than to be working, because that's how the government has it set up. You know, I heard that there are these programs that are coming down the line. I don't know if they'll ever pass, but they're like 12-month programs to help people get their feet off the ground. And this is coming through HHS and HHS and HUD. So, and it's going to be focused largely on homeless. And I think that that's going to be a grand idea. I hope that it ends up coming to fruition. I know they got a lot of stuff coming down for that and stuff like that. So it's very, 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 very important. I don't know. Somebody's talking about somebody. I don't know who that person is. Or maybe you spelled it wrong. Somebody says, how come Democrats redefine truth? And if you speak out against the new definitions, that's against free speech. Well, we'll get there in a second. But it's true right now. And this goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning of the show. Right now, if you say something that they don't like, they'll try to ostracize you. They'll try to make it like, oh, well, you're bad for saying that. I was just talking to somebody not too long ago about these pronouns and stuff like that. I'm not participating in your psychosis. I'm not. If you're a dude, you're a dude. Don't tell me that you're a girl and you want me to call you a girl. Like, you sound crazy. You're a dude. You want to be weird. You want to dress up in girls' clothes. You want to have a full beard and a full face of makeup. Maybe you should go on one of those daytime teledramas. It don't mean that you got to identify as non-binary, gender non-conforming, or as a woman, or whatever the case is. All of this nonsense. And then you want me to call you that when you're not even passing and you didn't even try. You understand what I'm saying? You got people out here looking like they entered the strongman contest last weekend, okay? Or are on a Delta Force team with the beards and everything, talking about, call me ma'am. What? Our state, what's it called? Our state sent, not state, but our federal federal congressman Joe Morelli the other day had that dude, what's it call it, McBride? I forget the name that it calls itself. What you call it, McBride, over here talking about she and her. That is a whole dude. Stop playing in my face and stop misleading the children. Okay? That is a whole dude. Okay? And I don't even want nobody to start even to play in my face about that. Do you still have your wedding tackle? Then don't even play like you're serious about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, these people got stuff twisted, super twisted. And they want you to participate in their psychosis. Listen, I'm not participating in your pronouns. I'm not participating in calling no boy a girl. I'm not participating in telling anybody that is a girl that they can be a boy. And I'm not participating in making padding for you guys to say, oh, yes, if they decide that they want to change their gender and they're a child, that they should get their wedding tackle cut off, or they should have their breasts cut out, or all of this, or they should be put on hormone treatment so they don't go through adolescence. What type of a monster are you? That type of butchery happened in Nazi Germany. You understand what I'm saying? Like that's what you want. That's who you are. That's what you're saying that you're all about. That's the type of experiments that you're running on these children. Now you got some of these children that were children that are now young adults out here talking about, you ruined my life. And I was never thinking of killing myself, but you told my parents that if I didn't do it, I'd kill myself. And you have me thinking that I'd kill myself if I didn't. What type of insane, evil, deplorable type of nonsense is that they're pushing in our society? And then they want us to go along with it. Don't go along with it. Well, it's politically expedient for us to go along with it. No, don't do that. Why won't you stand up? Stop being I can't say that word on the radio. You know, stop being one of them. Stop being a lily-livered individual with no spine, no backbones, and no huevos, no cojones. You understand what I'm saying? Did your spine fall out and hit the ground? Oh, well, it might affect me because of the job that I have. Oh, it might affect me because of my clients that I have. Do you not believe in God? Do you don't think that God will provide for you? Is that what it is? God is insufficient for you? You don't want to talk about stuff that's not clearly against nature and clearly against the Lord? You don't want to talk about that? You can't talk about that, so you're going to go along participating in it? A lot of y'all going to be spit out when you get to heaven. That's exactly what's going to happen. Y'all gonna be like, well, I was a good person. No, you weren't, because when it came to stand for righteousness, you did not say anything. You were silent. It's like that, what's his name? Norman Miller, the guy that was a priest in Nazi Germany. The first they came for, that's exactly what it is. First they came for such and such, and they wouldn't speak up, you know? First they came to force people to say she and her, and when they're a boy. Then they came for the children's genitals. Then they came for my right to speak up against anything that I deem wrong. And then there was nothing else that I could say because I had been completely silenced. Like, well, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? So this is a very, very serious situation. Somebody says, Dems do it well. They canceled Bernie Sanders. They did cancel Bernie Sanders. Okay, let me talk about Bernie Sanders real quick. Okay, you guys? Trump was doing a press pool, a gaggle on Air Force One the other day. And real quick, you guys are tuned into The Divide with Marcus C. Williams on WRFZ 106.3 Rochester Free Radio. This is The Divide with Marcus C. Williams here in your ear, having the conversations that you need to hear. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit the share button. And if you're listening to us online every Monday, 2:30 to 4 p.m., your number one conservative talk show in New York. Let's make it the world. Okay? Tell your friends, your family, and your enemies. Hit that like button and the share button, you guys. I see you out there. So as we have this conversation about Bernie Sanders, Trump was on Air Force One the other day, and he was talking about some of the things that he wanted to do and stuff like that. And one of the ladies said, oh, well, you're in line with Bernie Sanders on a lot of this stuff. And Trump was like, yeah, you know, some of the things we agree on, because some of the things we agree on. That's how it is. And he says, and look at how the Democrats did Bernie Sanders. Exactly. exactly to your point. Who said that? Exactly to your point. Nasir, is that you? I think that's what it says. Exactly to your point. They railroaded Bernie Sanders. Now, I'm not the biggest Bernie Sanders fan. He used to be better, and then he lost his mind completely. And a lot of things that I talk about sound like something Bernie Sanders would say. Why? Because some of the ideas are good ideas. He might be a socialist that's really one of the affluent socialists that just draws money away from the populace while saying that they want to give free stuff to everybody. But some of the ideas there's merit to, like AOC and what's her name? Oh, the pretty lady, Anna Paula Luna. And Anna Paula Luna both sponsored a bill to cap credit card rates. And that was a good idea. I've always supported that. I think that's a fantastic idea. Just because somebody is on the other side of the aisle doesn't mean that they can't have a good idea and you can't agree with them. That's this whole concept that we used to have that was bipartisan stuff. But now whenever people say, oh, well, I want to see more bipartisan stuff, that usually just means that they want more people to capitulate with what they want. It's not really actually about being bipartisan. And that's a very, very serious issue. And we need to have a conversation about what's happening in our nation, because I agree with some things that other people say that you would think that I wouldn't like, and I might not like them as a person. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that they're a good person. Doesn't mean I don't agree with them on some things. Usually there's some common ground on something, somewhere, certain issues. But right now, it's become so divided and divisive in our nation. You can't say anything that somebody disagrees with on the other side that they hold up that seems to be a virtue that is instilled by their particular political party, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent. And you know who's really terrible about this is the Democrats, because they'll shun you if you're a Democrat and you don't support one thing that they want this week. And the Democrats do that to other Democrats. That's why we got so many people that are now leaving the Democrat Party. Why? They're leaving the Democrat Party. They're becoming independent because they don't have a home in the Democrat Party, because the Democrats will kick you out if you don't agree with whatever the line is this Thursday. If next Thursday they're talking about you should be able to make love with a dolphin and you don't support that, you're going to be behind out on the corner. And this is exactly what they do. This is a very serious issue. And we need to have these type of level of conversations. But a lot of times they don't want you to talk about stuff, right? Shared things that might be good for the public. Who cares? Who cares? And I care. I care a lot. Like, I care about people. Why do I care about people? Because I care about our citizens. Why? Because I'm a citizen. If I don't care about others, I don't care about myself, right? So, because whatever they're going to do to them, they're going to do to me eventually. They'll get to me, and I look at this. This is what I talk about, what's happening to the people in poverty and stuff like that. Like, it's not me, but after they go for them, who they're coming for? The middle class, and the middle class is already under attack. Somebody, Nasir says that's why he's independent. I get it, bro. I get it. And it's frustrating, right? So me, as a serious conservative, I'm a constitutional conservative, if you guys are not familiar. And a lot of times what I see in the Republican Party is stuff that's not conservative starting to pop up and bubble up more and more and more. We got a bunch of people in the Republican Party that don't have any type of conservative values that are claiming to be Republican. This really upset me a couple of years ago, and I know somebody's going to feel some type of way. Okay, put your big boy and girl pants on, okay, and tighten your knickers for a second. They took out being pro-life from the National Republican platform in 2020, and I was appalled. You're going to take that out? Why? So you can court votes from a couple of people that mostly aren't going to vote for you anyway because they don't agree with you on other stuff? Or is it because you like to kill babies now? What is it? Make it make sense to me. When they did that, I was pissed. Okay, now you've got a number of different county committees for the Republicans, and town level committees that have it in their bylaws or have had it in their bylaws or their mission statements and values and stuff like that, pro-life, right? The sanctity of life, because that's one of the founding values of our nation. Like, and people playing your face like it's not, and that's a very serious concern. And they don't want you to talk about that. Why? Because if they can kill off people, it's easier to control. Hello? And what's the easiest way to get rid of population? Not to have them born in the first place. Who did that? The Nazis. But, you know, that's too much like right. Hit the like button, hit the share button. It don't cost you nothing. Get the message out there. Now, as we have these important conversations, when I look at the Republican Party right now, I get disappointed. I get very, very disappointed because I'm a traditional conservative Republican. One of the people that has the same values that our party was founded on. Like Frederick Douglass said, I am a dyed-in-the-wool Republican and would never want to be anything but a member of the Party of Freedom. But there are people inside that party that are warping and contorting what the Republican Party is about until it's almost unseeable, unknowable, what would you say, recognizable? And that's what a lot of the stuff is happening is. We look at people like Vivek Ramaswamy, okay? He's like, oh, heritage Americans ain't about nothing. They ain't worth nothing. They're not more American than anybody else. Excuse me, Mr. First Generation, okay? You can go back to India, okay? Because all you want to do is funnel all your cousins into our country, okay? And I'm not with it. You want to tear us down so that you can uplift your own self, talking about, oh, heritage Americans aren't more American than that. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. My family's fought in every war since before this country was a nation. Hello? What do you mean? What do you mean? Who are you talking to? Don't play in my face. Disrespectful. And he calls himself a Republican. He's a technocrat. Okay, he thinks that he knows better than you and so much better than us that he should be in charge. That man is a venomous snake that should be stomped out of our party. The heel should be taken and crushed his head. Okay, what the Bible say? Okay, we need to have these serious conversations, but people don't want to have it. Him, Valentina Gomez too. She's fake Colombian. Send her behind back to Colombia. Okay, who's just an extremophile. She has no value. She has no principles. She has no what do you call them? She has no scruples, and she has no loyalty. She ran for, what was it, Secretary of State in I think it was Arizona or New Mexico somewhere, and she lost that so bad, she moved next month to Texas, and then she's going to run for office in Texas. Stop playing in my face. That's classic carpet bagging in politics. Like, what are we doing here? And people won't call it out because they're like, oh, she's sensational. She's saying all of the crazy stuff that I would like to say. Yeah, well, is your crazy stuff practical? You understand what I'm saying? No, it's not. All it does is cause problems and extra conflict that we can't afford, because what are we doing with conflict right now? We got legislation and budgets that we got to get passed, and you out here, what do you want? What do you want? Civil war? Shoot, don't threaten me with a good time. But you're not even asking for a civil war. You want a whole bunch of problems just to act sensational, to make you feel good on the inside because somebody's putting bacon in a Quran or setting the Quran on fire. Make it make sense to me. How is that helpful to our cause? I see those people as just as bad as the other people that are on the opposite side that are dragging us to the left. So we got the sensationalists on the right that aren't even of our values and are just using us to get more money and more position. Okay. And we got the other ones that call themselves Republican, but are more towards the left, that are dragging our party more and more to the left, and nobody's saying anything. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. You understand? And I'll say something because nobody else will say anything. When we are a member of a party, we need to be holding them accountable for our issues and our values. That's the issue with the Democrat Party right now. The Democrat Party lost its morals and values years ago, if they ever had any to begin with. But nobody stood up. Nobody pushed back. And now they're like that. Now it's happening in the Republican Party, and I'm not having it. I'm going to be as vocal as possible, okay? It's frustrating, y'all. It's frustrating, it's upsetting, and it's causing serious, serious issues. But what can you do? What can you do? I'll tell you what you can do. You can get active because you can make a difference. You can make a difference. You can make a real difference, but it has to start on the local level. Getting involved, going to different meetings for the city or town or the county, get involved locally. That's how you can start to make a change. But when we talk about a lot of stuff, they try to deflect it towards the presidential level. And oh, the president this, the president that. I want to talk about something international real quick, because I know later on I'm going to get some hate about the saying that people shouldn't put bacon in a Quran and burn the Quran. It's not that I believe that they shouldn't do that. It's that what point does it serve? It only makes us look bad, and it doesn't serve any beneficial point. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I'm hardcore Christian, okay? I'm hardcore Christian. I'm hardcore conservative Christian, okay? If y'all about to restart the Crusades, let's restart it in America first, okay? Type of person. But to watch people put bacon and burn Qurans, what is that? How is that helping except galvanizing the enemy together against us? What are you doing? You're not serving our interests. You're trying to get us set up. You understand what I'm saying? You setting us up for a fall. And in the meantime, the enemy consolidates its forces because now everybody's been given a reason to be mad. I'll give you a great example. There's I don't remember exactly the war or the generals in it, but it was in China, and it was these two groups fighting each other, and there was a walled city, right? And inside the city was being besieged, and one of the guys sent a spy out to the other camp, and the spy told them, oh, well, the worst thing that you could do to the people that are in that kingdom is you would dig up their the corpses of their ancestors and set them on fire. So the enemy general did that. And what happened? He set the bodies on fire, and what did it do? Pissed off everybody in the city. Made them redouble their efforts. They ended up going over and destroying the enemy army when they were all hurt real bad and jacked up. And that's the same thing I see it as them doing, putting the bacon on the Quran and setting the Quran on fire and stuff like that. It's crazy. That's not helpful. Thank you for tuning in. I see you. You said you forgot we were on today. Yeah, no worries. No worries. Make sure you hit the like and the share. But this is exactly what's going on. Like, this doesn't help our cause. You know, now also I've been talking a lot about getting everybody out of the country, deporting all the illegal aliens. Then we get all these people like, oh yeah, those Muslims, they got to go. What? The Muslims got to go? No, everybody got to go. I don't care if they pink, yellow, banana colored, okay, look like an orange. I don't care where they're from. I don't care what their ethnicity is. I don't care if they're from Taiwan, Tunisia. I don't care if they're from Europe. I don't care if they're from South America. I don't care if they're from Australia. Everybody got to go. All the illegals got to go. But now they've got in the mind of people, oh, the Muslims. Yes, the Muslims from these foreign countries that are here illegally, but also all of the other illegal aliens. Don't sully the conversation and don't water down that conversation because the news, the media, and everybody has got you focused on these Muslims. That's a problem. And then you're not even focused on the right Muslims yet. You got to be focused on these Islamists, right? You got to be focused on these Islamists, these real problem sectors in the Muslim community. You want to get rid of all the Muslims? I hear you. I hear what you're saying. Now, you explain to me, if you don't see the Muslim community standing up against the extremists and the Islamists, how you're possibly going to get rid of all of them when all you're doing is pushing them towards being incorporated with the Islamists. Make it make sense. You're concerned about Sharia law. You're concerned about beheadings. You're concerned about honor killings. You're concerned about all these things. Well, there are people that are out there doing it that you're just lumping these other group of people in with. And I hear you. I feel you. 100% I feel you. But the problem with that is we got to start somewhere. And your focus is too narrow, but also wide at the same time. Okay? All the Muslims need to go. Well, all the Muslims aren't here illegally. So what do you mean all the Muslims need to go? Maybe we should focus on getting rid of all the illegals first, and then we can have other conversations. How about that? How about a focus of intent? Instead of saying, oh, well, everybody's got to go. You understand what I'm saying? What about all the American Muslims, right? What about the Nation of Islam? They got to go too? Like, what are you saying? And this is the problem. And the Nation of Islam, regular people in these Saracen countries, like these Sand people countries, they don't like the Nation of Islam. They think that they're heretics. They would sooner behead them. Okay? So what are you talking about? See, and again, this is this important level of conversation that needs to be had. But, you know, it's good to be distracted by the Muslims. If you're online, if you're on the radio, I just made a big circle with my hand as an all-encompassing thing. That's the problem. We need to be focusing on illegal aliens and Islamists, right? Not all of Islam. That is a problem that will drive them to consolidate their efforts with the Islamists, giving us the end result that we say that we don't want. Don't fall into that trap. And I know somebody's going to feel some type of way about what I said today. Feel some type of way. Go on. Feel some type of way. If you don't want to hear the reality, if you don't want to hear the actual direction that we need to go in to preserve our nation, to preserve our Christian nation, and you want to be so stuck up your own butt, you are part of the problem. Stop being part of the problem. Start being part of the solution. Somebody says, I'm also sick of these folks. Yeah, it's a real problem. It's a real issue. Somebody said I'm screaming. Look, I'm just out here telling the truth. But people don't want to hear that. You know, because again, it's what the media says. It's what the media pushes. It's, again, the left and the right and the Democrats and the Republicans. And you have to take this side. You have to take this side. I'm on the side of Christ. I'm on the side of America. Okay? That's where I stand. You understand what I'm saying? And we need to understand that we have to get back to that. And speaking of being on the side of Christ and Islam, okay, let's take a second and talk about what's going on over there in Africa, okay? Let's talk about how we got all of these Christians being killed up in Africa, right? Where is that in the news? Do you know that they assassinated one of the bishops over there just the other day? I want to say it's 2 days ago now. Bishop, what's his name? I think it's Afonso. Okay, over there in Mozambique. They assassinated him, killed him dead. Okay, they're over there assassinating, not just murdering, assassinating Christian leaders. And we're just over here, oh, you know, let's just let it go. And, you know, things aren't that bad and Christians aren't under attack in America and stuff like that. And we can't let people minimize what's going on with Christians in America or all over the world. This is something that we see far too often. I've been on this thing really hard the last couple of weeks because there have been more and more attacks on Christians and nobody's standing up and saying anything. Let a synagogue have a little graffiti on it. It's the end of the freaking world. Let a mosque have a slab of bacon on it and it's the end of the freaking world. Okay? Oh, woe is us. Woe is us. Okay? Like, listen, don't play in my face. It's the crazy. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Hit the like button, hit the share button. Let's get ready to get into some real stuff. So they just assassinated this bishop. But I remember in America, and was it LA? Might have been LA, San Francisco area over there. Could have been San Diego. I don't know. It's all the same over there to me. because I'm from the East Coast. But anyway, over there, a couple years ago, maybe 2-3 years ago, they bound this, I want to say it was a bishop. They bound this bishop, hogtied him, and then shot him in the head, assassination style. That was barely ever covered in the news. Go look it up. Don't believe me because I'm saying it. Believe me because I'm telling you. I'm going out my way to tell you. Go look it up. Okay? And this is the conversations that we can't have, because whatever happens to our people as Christians, it's not an issue. They belittle it. They condescend it, or whatever the case is. But if you misgender somebody that's dressed like a man, that's clearly a woman, then, oh, you're misgendering somebody. Misgendering somebody is violence. Nonsense. Nonsense. Somebody said the devil is busy. Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is what it is. At the end of the day, most of this is about pure, unadulterated evil and villainy. And I want to talk about villainy for a second, because I believe that most people don't understand conceptually what villainy is. Okay? Villainy, and I want you to hear the correlation between the word villainy and vile, right? Both start with V, both are evil, right? Villainy is malicious, malintent, leaning towards the evil way, right? Why is it like that? It's like that because the intent is always evil. It's bad to do bad. If you call somebody a villain, it's because their intent is to do bad, right? Like a bad guy from a cartoon or a bad guy from Power Rangers, they're the villain because they do bad stuff. That's their character. But somehow we've gotten to it in a country where we don't believe that villainy actually exists. We don't believe that it exists. We believe that people wouldn't do something that bad. Nothing would happen that wrong. Listen, down, I want to say it was Honduras, or maybe it was it Panama? It might have been Honduras and Panama. So they had these two cults down there, or maybe it was Honduras and Guatemala. You got to go look it up for the exact answers. It doesn't matter. But they had these two allegedly Orthodox Jewish groups down there that was kidnapping children and doing unspeakable things, and they got ran out the country. That happened. Did you see that on the news? No. That happened a couple months ago one time, and then I think the other thing was last year. Villainy. Villainy. Absolute villainy. Abomination. You know, you got people over here decapitating people in New York City. Villainy. Villainy. Okay? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Like, there are very evil and vile people. I said something the other day about how there are people that are out here eating babies. And people are like, no, nobody's eating babies. That's not happening. Okay. You're telling me nobody's eating babies, except we know that people eat babies. That's not even historically, we know that that is a true thing. People have done that. They still do it, but you don't want to talk about it. Okay, I got you. Okay. But the people that wouldn't eat babies are willing to rip a unborn child that is 9 months gestating in the womb, that is able to live outside the womb, out of their mother in bits and pieces. They are willing to rip 9-month-old babies out of the mother in bits and pieces. And you mean to tell me that you don't think that that's villainy? That that's not the highest level of evil? And you think that if people would do stuff like that, that nobody would eat babies? There was somebody said they're putting it in the food. I don't think they're putting babies in the food, but there might be some human meat in food. That's a whole separate conversation. You know, there's never a zero chance. And you know, that's a whole crazy conversation. We'll do an episode on that another day. But we have a whole bunch of issues and things that are happening right in front of us. And again, Rochester, where I live, is a giant human trafficking hub. So many people go missing. So many people get caught up in all types of things and sexual trafficking and human trafficking. And I do separate the two because it's very important. Some is for physical slavery, some is for the sex trade. They make some money, but not like that. You know what I'm saying? Like sex trade, but also for other reasons, and we've talked about it before, like blood and organs and what's happening to these people and why are these people never found and how come it's so many teenagers and young adults that just completely go missing and then they're like, oh, well, they just ran away, but you can't find them on the internet, on any type of social media, and we're in this day and age. That makes sense to me. Come on now, stop it. Stop it. Villainy. Okay? Villainy in our day and age. Do you know that in Dubai, the luxurious Dubai, right? That they have essentially slavery now, right? Like right now, I don't mean now like it's something new that they've been doing. They've been doing it forever, but they have it right now. They've got all these Indians and Africans over there right now that live in these little tight, crazy tight quarters, and they barely get any type of food or sleep or anything, and they do all of the service jobs and everything over there, and sometimes they don't get any type of pay at all, and they get beat on and all types of other crazy stuff, and that's happening right now. And Dubai is a place to be, the United Arab Emirates and what's the other one? I don't know, all them little Bahrain and all the other little nice, I'm using air quotes if you're on the radio, nice Muslim nations, right? Nice looking Muslim nations. Why can't we talk about that? They got open air slave markets in Libya. Don't get me started on Libya, okay? Talk about bipartisan garbage, okay? The only reason why we ended up in Libya and getting rid of Gaddafi was because of Goldman Sachs. We've talked about that before, but that's a whole much longer conversation that we need to have again, probably sometime soon. But people will say, oh, well, it's because Gaddafi was trying to irrigate the Sahara Desert or because of the gold or whatever. Yeah, those were parts of it, but it was largely because Goldman Sachs lost like a couple billion, I think it was $4 billion that they were supposed to be putting in hedge funds for them to manage that were supposed to be low risk, low volatility, and they lost all the money. So this isn't much different than the other scandals that they've been involved with 1MDB scandal in Indonesia and a number of other scandals that they've been involved in the last couple of decades. Like, and people are like, oh no, this is that and this is that. But those are the people who really pushed it, because not too long after the finance minister for Gaddafi was at Goldman Sachs about losing all their money, talking about if they don't find their money, they don't get them their money back, he's going to kill them. And so then all of a sudden we're inside Gaddafi's house killing him. You understand what I'm saying? Make it make sense to me. Okay. I'm not saying that there weren't other things that went along with it that they didn't like. I'm just saying the timing, right? And knowing that Goldman Sachs funds both the Democrats and the Republicans, who both supported that, by the way. Don't get me started on that nonsense. But these are the type of conversations that we need to have. And it's a very, very serious issue. We've got all types of crazy stuff going on in the world. And what is it? Villainy, open evil, open defiance of God. Okay. And nobody can tell me that now it's Pride Month. That's not villainy. Pride Month is villainy too. It's pure evil, demonic. And you know what? I thought about it for a minute the other day, and I never really thought about it. I was like, oh yeah, Pride Month, pride is a sin, this, that, and third, it's evil, right? Bah. It's an open and shut case there. But I actually sat there and I thought about it for a minute. And the thing about pride that is so dangerous is not that it's about pride and gay stuff, right? It's about that you are so much better, yourself as an individual are so much better than everybody else and anybody that believes anything different, that you have to do the most obnoxious and obscene things to flaunt that you are so much better than anybody else. At the same time, promoting sin and all types of debauchery and depravity to the youth. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. It's a serious problem. It's a very serious problem. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, or they don't want to talk about that, but it's a very serious problem because, again, it's about self. It's not even about the homosexuality, because now it's not even about homosexuality anymore. It's about gender identity. These gender identity people are attacking everybody. They're trying to erase everybody. Because what is homosexuality? It's one person that likes to be attracted to somebody of the same sex or have intercourse with the person of the same sex, right? That's homosexuality, right? But how can you be homosexual if there are no genders? You can't even be homosexual if there are no genders. So these people are forcing on the homosexuals, saying, hey, there's no such thing as a man or a woman. Well, wait, hold on. So you're just erasing that whole group of people. Now you've got the people on the one side that call themselves the alphabet people, the T through the rest of the crazy letters with the dog people and the people that like to touch babies and the rest of that stuff, the pedophiles and all the rest of them on the one side, and the two spirits people, all of them people on the one side, versus the traditional homosexuals, the guys that like guys, the girls that like girls, and the bisexual people that don't necessarily have an issue with either. I think bisexuals are just greedy. That's a whole separate conversation. Okay. But the fact of the matter is this, very simply, it's villainy. Somebody says they don't understand. They don't understand. They don't understand. I don't expect you to understand because they don't understand. That's part of the problem. Right now, what we're seeing with this whole Pride Month, and you better accept it too, right? Because if you don't accept Pride Month, then you're the problem. You're a bad person. Get the heck out my face. You're a bad person. Promoting perversion, promoting confusion. The Lord is not the creator of confusion. What is that? 1 Thessalonians 11:22 or something like that. Let's see. Let's ask Google. Google, what's in the Bible is in 1 Thessalonians. The Lord is not the author of confusion. It's like 11:22 or something like that. Let's see. Let's see what it says. It says it's taking too long for me in my liking. 1:14:33. Corinthians. No, that's not the one I wanted. It says it's Corinthians, but there is part in Corinthians. I'm not talking about Corinthians. It's trying to give me a wrong answer. See, this is why I always be getting in an argument with Google all the time. Because, there it is. 1 Thessalonians 5-23. And it's also 1 Thessalonians 5:21 and 22. See, I was right. Prove all things, hold fast to that which is good, abstain from all appearances of evil. And the God is not the author of confusion. And that is also, for God is not the author of confusion, but of peace, as in all churches of the saints. Okay, and that one is 1 Corinthians 14:33. I was combining the two together. That was on me. Okay, for a change, Google was mostly right. But yeah, so this is a problem because we have to actually have these types of conversations about why these things are wrong. You know, there are things in the Bible that are we're just now figuring out scientifically why the Bible was saying those things. So, I mean, a couple thousand years and it's still right, on point. But people don't like to talk about that. When we see what's going on today in our society, it is pure, unadulterated evil and villainy. Because the demons are nothing but villains. They are intentionally doing harm. And people are out here intentionally pushing harm and perversion. Let me ask you a question. If God is not the author of confusion and nature is always right? So we're going to go from the gospel side and the Jesus side, and we're going to go from the nature people, right? So you got the nature people, right? So the nature people, which used to be considered to be like the hippies and all that other stuff, used to be Democrats. Where are they now? Right? Did they all die off? Then you got the other people on the other side. You got the Jesus people, okay, and you got a lot of Democrats that claim to be Jesus people but won't speak up against the abomination. So we got that. Both of them say nature's right all the time, God's right all the time. So you mean to tell me that these people came to earth in their bodies, okay, and they're in the wrong body, they're trapped in the wrong body? What, are you going to take their brain and their soul out of their body and put it in another sleeve? Is that what you're going to do? Like, what is going on here? Like, what even are we talking about? Like, this is crazy. It's absolute crazy. Nature doesn't make mistakes, and neither does God. So you're against nature and God. Or if you're one of them universe people, you're against the universe. How are you against the universe? Who's stupid? You know what I'm saying? Craziness. Somebody says they won't speak up because they're part of the abomination. This is a real serious problem. They are. They really are now. And before we get out of here, before we go too far in the show, I want to talk about a couple of more issues before we get out of here. And please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the share. Get this message out there. And if you're listening to us on the radio, make sure you tune in every Monday, 2:30 to 4 p.m. on 106.3 WRFZ, Rochester Free Radio. Let's jump into a couple of things that I want to run down real quick. Over the last week, we've seen a number of bills come out from the state assembly and state senate, some passed, some in motion, but these ones are passed. They just put a bill talking about there are no longer mothers and fathers. Oh, it's gestating people. I slap somebody. Gestating people. What do you mean? Gestating people. No mothers, you can't be a mother, you can't be a father. It's gestating people. What? Abomination. Villainy. And you want us to go with that? You want us to go with that? Gestating people. You can't be a mother. You can't say father anymore. Listen, these people are so evil and people keep voting for them. Do you see what these people are doing? I need you to wake up. We talked about earlier in the show how they're responsible for all of the energy price increases too. Like, look at what these people are doing to you. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's absolutely bat poop insane. You know what I'm saying? Okay, like it's a very, very, very serious issue. We've got a number of other things that are coming down through legislation and stuff that I don't have enough time to go through in detail the way that I would like, but I just want to use that one thing as a very firm point. We also have it where now they're talking about they want to count illegal aliens in the census. Oh, wait, Marcus, the illegal aliens already get counted in the census. Oh, do they? Do they? Okay, so if the illegal aliens already get counted in the census, then why did New York State need to create a whole new department with your taxpayer money to make sure that they're included in the census? What's that about? That doesn't smell to you guys? And people are like, oh, well, that's a federal issue, and they're always in it, and they get real hostile about it too. And I point out to them, yeah, okay. So then why does the state need to do that then? Hello, open your brain, use your thinking cap. Did God not give you a brain? I really sometimes question these types of things, like how much indoctrination have they been filled with that it just all common sense and reasoning skills just goes out the window. I know a lot of people haven't been taught reasoning skills anymore, so there's a lot of young adults and even old adults that don't have any type of reasoning skills. But I mean, you got to ask yourself, if you're telling me that the federal government already does that and they're already counted, why does the state need a department to do that when the state doesn't have anything to do with the census? All they're doing is training up these armies of volunteers that they're going to push into taking all of the census jobs to count the people the way that they want them to count them, so that they can be included in our rolls, so that when they're included in our rolls, they can be part of the apportionment system, which is the monies that are distributed to each state by the federal government based on the population. And they can also keep a larger number of representatives, because so many people have moved out of New York State that we'd lose a number of representatives. I think we're about on losing 2 seats in the House of Representatives because we've had so many people move out. So they're desperately trying to keep those seats, but those seats would end up going to red states because everybody moved to red states. So now not only are they stealing our representation as New Yorkers, they're also stealing representation from other states and every single other person in the country. This is voter disenfranchisement. This is deprioritization of the American citizen. This is all about power and money, because that's what it's always about. It's always about power and money. And people don't see it, and they're like, oh, well, why is this? What is that? Oh, and they take it so seriously without actually contemplating why they might do it. Because they're bad people. They are villains. At least they're silent while villains go active, and they're co-signing for the villains. They're accomplices. You know what I'm saying? Make it make sense. Somebody said basic economics. That's what it's always about. Money and power, money and power. Almost everything boils down to money and power. You want to know about the pride stuff? What's behind the pride stuff? Money and power. Money and power, because if they can get you to shut up and deny that reality is reality, they can get you to be complacent about anything else. Money and power. There's a lot of money seem to be floating around for all of this alphabetism nonsense. Money and power. Okay? It's crazy. All of this stuff is all now and is always about money and power. And we need to understand that. Right now, before we go, I want to give a very serious scolding to some Republicans. Okay, if you are a Republican and you're watching this, I am too. Okay, but we need to have a heart-to-heart conversation. Why are these people not pushing the SAVE Act? Why is the SAVE Act not done? And people say, oh, well, it's the Democrats that is the reason that it's not done. What did they used to tell you? If they wanted to, they would. Okay? If they wanted to, they would. And they're not, because they don't want to. What is Thune doing? Nothing. They've been sitting on this for months. They've been sitting on this for months. They're not trying to do anything about it. It's a very serious problem. Where is the Republican Party? Okay, where are us as Republicans holding them accountable? Have you written your senators? Have you written your congressmen? Have you written Thune? I have. I've written him a couple times. Man, I can't stand these people, man, because I want my voice to be heard. These people need to push the SAVE Act, and even if it's a skinny SAVE Act, we need voter ID. Period, point blank. All the other countries in Europe can have voter ID. We don't got voter ID. Make it make sense. Then they want to tell you, oh, it's racist because people wouldn't be, it would make people not want to vote. Who's stupid? Then another law that the state passed is some stuff about making it so that ICE isn't at polling sites, because that would intimidate certain people from staying away from polling sites. Who's intimidated by ICE? Not me. I'm not at a port bringing stuff in from other foreign countries. I'm not at the airport getting things through customs like that. ICE ain't got nothing to do with me, and I'm not an illegal alien. So, and if you're a citizen and you're going to vote, which only citizens are supposed to be voting, why would you have an issue with ICE? Make it make sense. Why did the state feel the need to do something like that? Make it make sense. These people, man, y'all got to understand what's really going on. It's really, really, really serious. But if you're listening to us on the radio, remember, we got to get active. It's up to you. And I encourage you that you now more than ever have to stand up and hold these people accountable. It doesn't matter what your party is. Doesn't matter if you're Democrat, independent, Republican, whatever. These elected officials are supposed to be our representative. They're supposed to be beholden to us, not foreigners, not non-citizens, not illegal aliens, okay? Us, the American citizenry. And anything that they're doing to service any of these other people is a disservice to the American people. Remember, stand up, speak up, and don't shut up. Take action. Be blessed and be well. All right, you guys. So if you're online with me, please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button so that we can get this message out there. And if you're watching me on Facebook, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube, the Marcus C. Williams channel. We've got all of these very serious issues going on in our country right now, and nobody seems to want to address it. If we don't stand up and if we don't speak up, nobody's going to do anything about it. We have to stand up and speak up right now. Because if we don't stand up and speak up now, in the future, there will be no time to stand up or speak up. Nothing will be able to save us if we don't stand up and speak up now. It's up to us. And I know that many of you out there care. I know that many of you out there are concerned, but nobody's coming to save us. It's time for us to take a stand for righteousness, for our country, and for our future, because there are so many villains out there that seek to tear down our foundations that we are almost assuredly going to fall if we don't stand now. That's my message to you. Get active, get involved locally, because on the federal level, there's not a lot that you can do, but locally, there is a ton that you can do. Somebody said it's absolutely a disservice. It's true, you guys. It's very true. I'm trying to give you guys as much truth as I can in a little short time. If you guys want to support, either side of the screen or down below you can do Cash App, $MW Real, the number 1. That's Cash App. You can also do Venmo or PayPal, and that's at Marcus C. Williams. If you guys want to help underwrite the show, reach out to me, message me, okay? And we'll make that happen too. If you have a business or something, you can underwrite the show. I'll catch up with you guys soon. Remember, stand up, speak up, and don't shut up. Take action. You guys be blessed and be well.